Here we go. How are we, everyone? Welcome back to Talk Norwich City. I hope you guys are all doing very well indeed. It's Monday evening, and I thought I'd drop in with a quick little live stream. I was going to record a video and upload it, but to be honest with you, I can't really be bothered to edit this evening. So I thought, why not jump on to a live stream? We can have a little chat, dissect what happened Friday evening now that the dust has settled somewhat. And have a look ahead. I think it's always nice to do these kind of reflective pieces because often on game day, when you've just won or lost, you can get far too carried away or far too down about things. Let me know how we're feeling in the comment section. I'll be trying to get through the majority of them and we can have a good chat. Good evening to Churchy. Good to see you as always. Cameron, Oakley, Ollie, Kobe. Good to see you. Look, boys, we're going to be fine and going to win the league. That's the kind of optimism I like around here, Kobe. Good to see you this evening. Adam, hope you're well. I am well, Adam. It's thick with snow here in Surrey. I think Norfolk is even thicker with snow. So if you enjoy snow, you're going to be delighted. If you think it's a pain, you're probably down about things at the moment. And of course, Norwich City struggling form-wise as well. We're going to be getting onto that shortly. 150 of you. Wow. Wasn't expecting that many, but let's get straight into things. Norwich City without winning without a goal in 4 games. And I think the hysteria surrounding that form is slightly to do with nerves. Football fans are the twitchy, are twitchy at the best of times. So when you go a sustained period of time when things aren't going your way and you're in a position of ascendancy, things are tough. And Norwich haven't been good enough in recent weeks. However, when you break this down, I was looking at things. I've actually got notes for once, which is, when there's preparation that's gone into it, things are going well. You break this 4-game run down, and I think that's the worry amongst Norwich fans is the last couple of weeks has been up and down. Sorry, I keep getting distracted with the comments. I will get through them shortly. Where's Chris? He's probably enjoying watching Hollyoaks or something. I just thought I'd jump on my own tonight. I'm sure he's fine. I haven't actually spoken to him today. What was I saying? If you break this 4-game run down, you've got an FA Cup clash against Barnsley at the start, and we lost and we got beaten well that day. We had chances, though. That was the key thing. We created chances with the second-string team. Poeta should have scored a couple that evening. Then games against Middlesbrough and Millwall, where 2-0 draws, you'd almost kind of take that. Like, drawing to Middlesbrough, you'll definitely take. Drawing to Millwall was probably slightly more disappointing. I think the performance in that was disappointing as well because we didn't really create anything, and Millwall arguably had the better chances of the evening. The performance against Swansea wasn't good enough, and I think everyone will recognise that. But Swansea were excellent, and they are the real deal, Swansea. I think it's between them, us, and Brentford for the automatic places. Was interesting to see Brentford go behind on Saturday against Middlesbrough, and then go and thump, was it 3 or 4 past them? So they're in a really hot streak of 4. I think they're 20 games unbeaten in the Championship, which is remarkable. But they had their sticky patch at the start of the season. I think they were like mid-table after a good few games. So everyone thought that they were going to be out of it. And now suddenly they've put 20 games together. Bournemouth look out of it. Watford look out of it. But you never know with Bournemouth. If they get the next appointment right, they could be, put in a really hot streak of form and be straight back in there. You just never know with this division. I think Ben Gibson said it. He said, we've never got too high when we've been winning games and we won't believe the critics now that things aren't going our way. So he's clearly feeling good. I love this quote from him. He said, I still fancy us more than ever, which is great. I love that kind of optimism from Ben Gibson, and them guys are in and around the team every single day, so they know what's going on. It's very easy to look in when things are going well, and like we've been saying on the live streams, like HMS pissed the league and 100 points, 100 goals. Look, it's fine to get carried away. I'll never frown upon that behaviour from fans. But it's also important to stay realistic, and there'll be many patches from now until the end of the season where Norwich put in good runs of form, bad runs of form. You only have to look back to the period kind of this point in 2018-19 where the form was similar. If we go and beat Stoke on Saturday coming up, which is a very winnable game, I don't think they've won in 9. Things look fine, and we're still top of the league as well. I think I've titled this video something like, "Is it time to worry for Norwich fans?" If we're worrying and we're top of the league, things are going very well. I know that both the teams underneath us do have a game in hand, so that could swing, but I'm sure there'll be peaks and troughs from now until the end of the season. Here we go. This is a great comment. I was just touching on this from Ash. 2018-19, so of course the season we got promoted under Farker. From match day 29, we won 12, drew 5, and lost 1. We need a similar run this time around. We also had 53 points, which is 2 less than what we have now. Yeah, so look, the form we put together from this point on in that season was impeccable, wasn't it? And I think it was Leeds away when we won 3-1. Was that similar? I think it was a similar point in the season to now, maybe a bit later on in the season. Where everyone started to look and take notice of Norwich City. But it felt like we were coming under the radar a little bit that season. We were young. We had an unknown manager at that point, a team full of, players that people had never heard of, Stiepermann, Tribal, Leitner, Pukki. Like, these were players that were kind of cobbled together and it just worked beautifully. Young players. Max Aaron's only made his championship debut that season. Jamal Lewis, Ben Godfrey, only really had game time at Shrewsbury. Christoph Zimmermann had been playing like 4th division German football. So it was very up and coming that season. It's different this time around. Teams know about us. Teams know the way we play. We've got, I think, the 15th longest serving manager in English football at the moment. So it is different this time around. That form that you've put there, 12 wins, 5 draws and 1 loss, that's quite daunting, because that's, a serious stretch of form and decent stats being posted there. So we are going to have to put a good run together, and I don't think Swansea and Brentford will drop too many points from now until the end. But who knows? Everyone was, ranting and raving about how good Norwich were a few weeks ago, and all it takes is a couple of, sketchy performances, and suddenly you're being, talked about like a mid-table side. So it's fascinating. I think this next month or so is going to be really insightful, because Norwich have some games in there where you're expected to win. I think Swansea and Middlesbrough, you're probably maybe not so much expected to win, but Stoke, Rotherham, Wickham, Birmingham coming up, all games that title winning sides should be winning. And Norwich will be hoping for automatics this season, considering the squad, considering the faith put in Farker, considering we've still got Emi Buendia, Todd Cantwell, players of the like. Simon, thank you so much. £2 super chat. I ain't worried yet, Paul. Good to see Simon. Here he is. Chris, how are you, mate? Look, if you want an invite, then jump on in. Let me know. I thought you'd be busy watching some prime time television. But if you fancy a chat, mate, come on in. Look, I'm only going to be on here for 20 or so minutes. My dinner's in the oven, so I haven't got too much time. Look at this, Ryan Thompson. Wasn't expecting super chats this evening, but thank you nonetheless. The current top 6 play at least 2 of the other top 6 in the final games of the season. Wow, I didn't know that. Going to be a crazy finish. Yeah, I think it will go down to the wire, as it always does. You'll always have one team coming out of nowhere to put on a late charge as well. Blackburn, I thought were going to be that side. Not so sure now. They lost to QPR at the weekend. It feels like they dominate games, but don't really put teams to bed. I don't know what it is, though. They create a hell of a lot of chances, but in terms of shot conversion, it's got not great. It's similar to Norwich. Like, Norwich have created a lot of chances this season that haven't been put in the back of the net. Very different to the season we went up in 18-19, where Teemu Pukki just was exceptional in front of goal. Like, I think he had, say, an expected goals total of 23 or 4 that season and scored 30. So he was punching well above his weight that season. Joe Keeler talking about Pukki. I'd argue Teemu Pukki peaked in 2019 and has looked off colour since the 2020s rolled in. Yeah, I've seen a lot of chat about Timu in recent weeks, and I kind of disagree. I must admit, like, what's the other option? You've got Jordan Hugill, who's unfortunately injured now, so he's off the radar. And do you go with Adam Eder, who, yeah, he's a good player, and I think he'd be able to cut his cloth in the Championship. But is he Timu Pukki? No, he's not. And you've got one of the Championship's most potent finishers in recent years in your squad. You play him, and I think we look better when Timu Pukki's in there. I tell you the one thing, I don't think Timu Pukki's as good when Marco Stiepermann isn't playing. I was banging on the Marco Stiepermann drum quite heavily last week, and it seems as if he's got some kind of nasty virus that's knocked him off balance a little bit. So I think the dream team is Stiepermann in the 10, Bandera out right, Cantwell out left, or Hernandez in there somewhere, and then Pukki up top. Look, I don't think Pukki's had the best couple of weeks, but he will go hot and cold. All strikers do. Ivan Toney had a couple of weeks where he didn't score. Adam Armstrong has gone off colour, and he was banging in goals for fun at the start. So strikers will have peaks and troughs. I think it's important to stick with Timu. I think maybe the older he gets, and he's not getting any younger, Timu, he's played a lot of football over the past 3 years. I mean, there was that point last season, wasn't there, when it was like Tuesday, Saturday, then full international breaks for Finland and intense games as well. All of these games that he's played over the past 3 years have either been in like relegation scraps, promotion charges, or European qualification for Finland. So he's had a really intense patch. Here you go. Screenshot this, everyone. We will win this league. Screenshot it. I'll leave that on screen for 10 seconds. And then if we don't, then you can send it to Chris. Greeno, how are you, mate? I tell you what, this is very relatable. Norwich's form may be painful at the moment, but it's nothing compared to losing a 9-fold ACCA because Hull could have beat Burton away. I had an ACCA that fell down at the weekend. It wasn't a 9-fold, it was a 4-fold because of Hull. Yeah, Burton 1-0, wasn't it? Hull hit the crossbar at 0-0 as well. That was real pain. Hope you're well, Greeno. Ryan Thompson, thanks for the donation, mate. Final 3 home games: Watford, Bournemouth, Reading. That's big. I didn't look that far ahead. I try, and with Norwich, I think you can only ever look like 2-3 games ahead. If you start looking to the end of the season, you'll get far too overwhelmed and start having, anxiety through the roof. That's massive. Watford, Bournemouth, Reading. All 3 of them will be top 6-7 sides come the end of the season. So, that's going to be make or break, isn't it? And hopefully it's make rather than break for Norwich City. What else have we got in here? I always write down sort of a rough agenda for these, like a council meeting. We need Jackie Weaver to take some authority over this. And it always goes off piece, but that's why we love it, isn't it? Steve, what's for dinner? I've got a cracking dinner on the horizon, I must admit. I've got salmon and herb fish cakes with some homemade potato wedges. I think I'm going to have some mushy peas with it. So a really strong performing dinner tonight. And I've had a long day, so I need some decent fuel in me. Yeah, Sam, I completely agree, mate. Remember Leeds last season, had a couple of poor runs of form, and look how it turned out. I think their poor run of form came roughly at this point in the season. I think I saw a clip earlier, it was either today or yesterday. On this day, like last year, they got beat 2-0 away at Nottingham Forest, and it was really starting to look sticky for Leeds, and I was loving it because it was like, Leeds are falling apart again. But then I think they went, it was either unbeaten or near enough unbeaten from now until the end of the season to win the league. So and they would have been nervy considering they threw it away the season we got promoted. So you can't get too carried away with runs of form. It's why I don't think it's never a great kind of form line to take in football. Just looking at recent form, because especially this season, it can be so up and down, and teams like we just talked about Burton, if you looked at the form figures, they're awful, and they go and beat Hull, who could have gone top of the league in League One. So you can never look too deep into these things. Apologies if I've missed any super chats. I don't think I have. Salmon and herb fish cakes stinks of you. Look, I can smell them cooking slowly in the oven. I'm very much looking forward to them, Chris. I bet Chris has had, let me try and guess what he's had for dinner. I feel like I know him quite well. I feel like a Monday is going to be pizza. I feel like Monday's pizza. You know, you've come out of the week. Oh, I don't know, actually. Maybe he's gone healthy. Not sure. Let us know what you think Chris has had for dinner. I've told you what I've had. He's lurking in the comments this evening. I've seen a few people ask for him to be blocked. I think blocking my co-host might be dangerous territory. Right, I'll do another 10 or so minutes in it. It's lovely to see you all on this Monday evening. I didn't think we'd have this many people, and then I remembered none of you have got nothing else to do. So this, we're chasing to the bottom. Fish finger sandwich, Chaz Tats. That's an absolute classic dinner, isn't it? If there was one meal, like easy meal I could have from now until the end of life, it would be that. Fish finger sandwich with, I tell you what, and this might be slightly rogue. Sorry, I was talking about football, but when food gets brought up, I always talk about food over football. Fish finger sandwich, the perfect condiment, salad cream. Get some salad cream in there. I know salad cream's very like 1980s dinner parties, but it's a nap. It's a nap for the sandwiches. Let's have a look. What else we've got? No one has pizza on a Monday. You can't turn down pizza if it's on offer, James. Okay. This is strong from Chris. I'll give it to him. Dinner, pulled pork. That's really good. That's really good from you, Chris. I thought you might be going lazy with it being Monday. I know you've had a busy day. So to pull out pulled pork on a Monday evening is, well, it's good from you. It's really good. I guess, everyone's at home. You've got the opportunity to slow cook through the day, haven't you? Matt, this is a strong effort. I thought it was a stir fry for Chris. Yeah, I know Chris likes a stir fry. We were on here to talk about Norwich City's recent run of form. We're now talking about Chris Reeves' Monday evening dinner. And Callum, like you say, mate, the range of this channel is unparalleled. It really is. I mean, we're venturing quickly into partridge territory, aren't we? But there we go. Let's talk about a bit of football, then we can get back onto the food for the last 5 minutes, because I know that's what you're all here for. Yellows NCFC, does Soto start against Stoke? Wow. Connor Southwell said he looked a class above the under-23 team. From what I've seen, Soto really is the next big thing. Wow. Sebastian Soto, of course, he's been recalled from his loan deal. I think the one thing I would say from that comment is be very careful looking at under-23 games and saying they're ready for the first team. There have been so many. I used to watch a lot of Norwich youth games back in like 2015, 16, 17, when they were at Carrow Road quite regularly, and I was a student, so I didn't have anything else to do. So I just go and watch a lot of the youth games. And there were so many players from them games where you'd look at and go, these are an absolute cut above everyone else. And they have gone on to play like non-league football or league division football. And that's not anything against these players, because it's remarkably tough to make it. But let's look back, right? There was so many youth games where I would have watched Todd Cantwell in, and he would have been like the 5th best player on the pitch in some of them games. And he's gone on to excel, like Premier League fans taking note of this man, and he will be sold for 20+ million pounds. There's no doubt about that. The player that always stuck out to me in youth games was Jamal Oza. I thought he was excellent. I thought he knew where the back of the net was. Another one, Benny Ashley Seal. Always scored goals, regularly posted decent numbers in them games. Jamal Oza, last I heard of him, he was playing at Kings Lynn. I think he's gone to Woking or somewhere like that now. So, like, still a career in football, but at low levels. Benny Ashley Seal, I think, got signed for Wolves, and I haven't heard of him since. So it shows like you can't take too much from youth games. It's in terms of Soto, I mean, I've heard lots of good things about Soto as well, but to stick him in a game like Stoke, where there's a lot riding on that. You can't put Soto in above Pukki, surely. And I think it would still be Pukki number 1, Eder number 2, Soto number 3, unless Farker has seen something remarkable from Sebastian Soto in the last couple of weeks of training. I'm not having it. I'm not having it. Jamie, this is quite the combo. English mustard, obviously Coleman's. Jamie, I'm assuming, and tomato sauce, doubling up your condiments in your fish finger sandwich, or tartar. Yeah, look, tartar is the go-to, isn't it? But if you're not having tartar, then for me it's salad cream. For you, it's English mustard and tomato sauce. Is that together? I've never had them together. Are the Reeves related? I couldn't tell you, Arthur. I really couldn't tell you. That's top secret information. I wouldn't be able to divulge that information this evening. This is a good comment. Where is it? No, Lowe's is not at Kingsley anymore. It ended all sourly, and there was a big argument between Loza and Stephen Cleeve. That's all I know. Jamal Loza isn't still at Kingsley, I don't think. Is Giannoulis the real deal? Convinced or not? I'm surprised he was dropped, actually. I'm really surprised that they dropped Giannoulis for Swansea. I can kind of see why, because Jakob Sorensen somehow cemented that position as his own. Am I convinced? He's 2 games in and he's kept 2 clean sheets. So if you're looking at them stats as a defender, you're dead impressed with them. I think that the thing that's maybe frustrated certain Norwich fans is his lack of wanting to get forwards, and maybe when he has got forwards, not finding much from it. I think you've got to put yourself in Giannoulis' shoes, though, or boots. He's been really thrown in the deep end, straight in there, and he's coming with expectation as well. And you only have to look at Norwich transfers over the years that have come with expectation. Naismith and Van Wolfswinkel hit me as the first 2 there. There's pressure on his shoulders. The good thing is he's got competition, and say if he's not performing, then Sorensen comes straight back in. The ideal scenario is Giannoulis, give him. I mean, look, we all wrote Vrancic off, and he's gone on to have a really decent Norwich career. Steedman looked patchy when we first signed him, so it will take time for Giannoulis. There was a brilliant article on The Athletic that Michael Bailey wrote about him, and essentially, like, it's such a difficult league to be thrown into, the Championship, because it is just so physical. And I know it's a cliche, but it is. And if you're coming from Greece, like Giannoulis, the complexion of games is so much different. Like, you compare it to whatever industry you're in, whatever you do, to be thrown into the workplace and judged after 2 days on the job is not fair. So we need to give Giannoulis time. I guess the one thing that football doesn't give you is time, because it's so frantic and so much is expected of you so quickly. And especially with Norwich City, if we were mid-table, he's got time, but we're not. We're in a promotion race, and things are expected of you quickly. So, Giannoulis will know that there's pressure on him. But like I say, the perfect thing with this is he's got someone who can slot in there, and he's got backup in Sorensen. So again, I'm fascinated to see what happens this Saturday against Stoke, what the team selection will be. Good knowledge from everyone here. Benny Ashley Seals now at Northampton. I didn't know that. The Cobblers used to cover Northampton quite a bit in my old job. So I would have known if I was still in that job, but I'm not. So I'm not looking at the Cobblers team sheets week in, week out. But good to know that Ashley Seals playing, decent standard of VFL football. Let's have a quick look. I think Brentford are the best team in the league by far. Tony will break the record. In terms of goals, breaking records, the joy of Brentford is they create so many chances. It was the reason Ivan Toney was such a brilliant signing for Brentford is the way that Brentford play is very similar to the way that Peterborough play. Strikers at Peterborough will always score goals because they create so many chances. It's the same with Brentford. I think it's the first time. I don't know if maybe it's not the first time, but Neil Morpie, Ollie Watkins, and Tony have all scored. Has Tony scored 20 goals this season? I think he has, hasn't he? I think he has. They've all scored 20 goals, like back-to-back seasons. Every striker that Brentford have had in the last 4 seasons has gone on to score big numbers of goals, and it's because they create so much. Brentford are the real deal. 3 teams, I think, in this division who have consistently been good: Brentford, Swansea, and us. I'd count Watford and I'd count Bournemouth out of the automatics. I think they'll get playoffs, but I think we know the best 3 teams in the division now, and I think it's them 3. Swansea defensively so sound, and bringing in Conor Hourihan's really good for them. They've got Andre Ayew up top, who is remarkable. He's playing Championship football, and Jamal Lowe, who's started slowly, but he's scoring goals more regularly now. So Swansea have got it all. Brentford, maybe not as good defensively as they have been in recent seasons, but just score goals for fun. Absolutely took Middlesbrough apart, which is worrying because we really struggled against Middlesbrough. Okay, last few comments because my fish cake's nearly done, and I don't want to bore you all too much. This is a good point. This is a really good point from Dom, actually. Pukki isn't the issue. In 1819, we had Vrancic, Hernandez and Steepman supplying Pukki in addition to Emi. Now, if teams stop the Buendia supply, they know how to stop Norwich. Also, I'd add to that, Dom, Vrancic, Hernandez and Steepman all scored, 8 goals plus that season? Especially to the latter end of the season. I remember so many Vrancic, Hernandez and Steepman goals at important times. We haven't got that supply in terms of goals from the midfield areas this season. And I would agree. I think we're way too reliant on Emi Buendia, and that's a potential issue. Let's not worry about that for now because we've still got him. But when he does leave, and I think that will be in the summer, the stats are damning. We've won 1 league game without Emi Buendia since he joined. And there's been a lot of games in that time. When Emi doesn't play, we look half the side we are. And hopefully that we keep him fit and he keeps in the referee's good books from now until the end of the season. That's not an issue we'll have to worry about, but it's certainly something to address going forwards. But I suppose, when we had Maddison, we said we were too reliant on him. When we had Wes Hoolahan, we said we were too reliant on him. You always find the answer. But certainly at the moment, if you're looking at statistics on paper, it's a worry. I would agree with you, Dom. And I think that the issue of the midfield has worried me the most in recent weeks, because I think when we looked at our best, McLean and Skip were just brilliant. And since McLean had COVID, and then we had to play Lucas Roop, and I know all of you think there's a Lucas Roop agenda. I just don't think he's a great footballer. I guess it is an agenda, but he hasn't proved me wrong. Since he's been brought back into the squad, we haven't won a game of football, and he hasn't scored yet. And I don't think he's posted too many assists. So the statistics back it up. I think Kenny McLean's a far better footballer, and I think the midfield's a worry. And I want to be seeing more goals from whether that's Cantwell or Buendia or McLean, even throw him in there, or Roop if he's playing. I want to see goals from him, because we can't be relying on Timu Pukki's goals, because there will be dry patches, as there will be with any striker in this division. Who remembers James Husband and Marley Watkins? Sadly, I do, Taylor. I try and forget about them moments, but sadly, I do. It's also worth noting, if you want to cheer yourself up while you're thinking about Marley Watkins, we sold him for a profit, which is probably the best bit of business Stuart Webber will ever do in his career. And there's been a lot of good business, but wow, some effort to sell him for a profit. Okay, last 2 comments because I'm very hungry. I can do more of these this week. If you enjoy them, I'll jump on. I mean, it's only half an hour of my day, isn't it? And it's much better doing these than it is recording a video and then releasing it, because I can actually speak to you. So let me know in the comments if you want to see more of these. I'm not doing anything else, am I? We're all in lockdown. 1 in 16. That's the stat of Emi Buendia. 1 win in 16 without Buendia since he joined. Not good enough. Wayne Barker, no shots on goal last 4 games. I think that's strictly true, Wayne. We have had shots on goal, not many shots on target. Not scored in 350 minutes, and now Swansea and Brentford right behind us. So yes, I'm worried that we'll end up doing Leeds. Look, yeah, you can be worried. I don't think anyone will have a pop at you for that, Wayne. And football fans are nervy people, aren't they? Look, I get nervous. I tell you what, Swansea on Friday was the first game this season I've been nervous for. Not necessarily because it meant so much, but I I was just nervy for it. I don't know why. I think a lot of people were the same. I think we're at that point in the season where there's expectation surrounding us now. Yeah, we haven't created enough good chances. It all boils down to that. You can dig into the statistics, you can dig into the performances all you like. The issue has been not creating enough good quality chances. Like, I can probably count one chance from Swansea, and that was probably a half chance where Pukki got played through. But even then, Cantwell pushed him too wide. So it was a 1-on-1, but you probably score 3 in 10. Barnsley, we didn't have a shot on target. Middlesbrough, we didn't have a shot on target. Then we played Millwall and did have shots on target. Did we have a clear-cut chance in that? Can't think of many. So, yeah, I guess that is the worry, Wayne. Right, one more question. Jamie, yes, D. Morjack, be the highlight of my day. Wow. That's kind, Jamie. We could do a Roy Waller What's for Tea segment. Roy Waller, what a Radio Norfolk legend. I was lucky enough to work at Radio Norfolk for, how long? 2 years freelancing. And Roy Waller is regarded as an absolute legend in them studios, and rightly so. He was a bit. I was a bit young. I'm a bit young for Roy Waller. Like Chris, it's always been Chris Gorham for me. But What's for Tea? I love radio, so that kind of stuff really appeals to me. I love knowing what people are having for tea and what they're drinking, etc. Look, it's as much excitement as we're going to be getting, but it's cozy, isn't it? And that's what we all want. Okay, that wasn't the question I'm answering. One more football one, and then we're done. I promise. Everyone's being very kind. That's nice, Jordan. We all want more of these. Okay, well, I enjoy doing them. It's a bit of company, isn't it? Buendia's the GOAT, Freddie. Hard to disagree with that, my friend. Predictions for the Leeds game. Leeds will win, I think. Palace, I think, without Wilfred Zaha. And much like Norwich and Buendia, Palace never win when Zaha's not playing. I live in a part of, we're like Surrey / South London. So all the football fans around here are Palace fans. So I hear a lot of Palace conversations when I'm out and about. PP's a very ordinary player, says John. Yeah, hard to disagree with that, sadly. I haven't seen enough from PP either. There's been a few players this season where I've probably been like, is he good enough? I'm not sure. One last comment. Who should we get? There we go. Josh Holland, here we go. Good to see you, Josh. Do you think Sheepman will be back in the mix? Has a decent long shot on him, and Kenny and Roop weren't at their best. Look, if I'm the gaffer and Sheepman's fit, which I still don't think he is I think he's got like a dodgy virus that's knocked him for 6. But when he's back in the mix, Sheepman plays in the 10 for me. Kenny McLean and Ollie Skipper in behind him. That has seemed like the most formidable midfield pairing so far this season. And then you've got Buendia out on the right, and then either Cantwell or Hernandez out on the left and Pukki up top. That's my dream, like midfield / attacking kind of coordination. I like Steep. I really do like Steepman. I think he's the glue that we're probably missing, that just holds that attacking department together. He connects play really nicely. I like Steepman. I really do. Right, that's going to be it. We've been live for half an hour, and if people are watching it back, they haven't got hours to trawl through. Simon had fish cakes as well. There we go, Simon. I know. I've always liked you. Fish cakes are such a great dinner, aren't they? Hello, Mum. How are you? Loves your company while I ate my tea. Thanks for dropping in. No worries. I hope. I've literally just messaged you, so I know you're well. But I hope you're still well, Mum. Right, there we go. We'll call that a day. If you want more, I can do more tomorrow, and the next day. And the next day and the next day until lockdown's over. And then when lockdown's over, I'm not going to be sat in my office at 10 to 7. Hopefully I'll be in the pub with a pint. There we go. Right. Have a lovely evening all. Thanks to those of you who dropped in a super chat. I really appreciate it. There's a watch along on Saturday, so clear your diaries for that. I can't imagine your social lives are particularly busy at the moment, but there we go. Thanks for watching. Norwich. I don't think I've actually answered the point of this video, which is should we be worried? No, don't be worried. Life's too short. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.